solemnly swear that I will faithfully
If a prosperous and free democracy can be built in the Philippines upon the ruins of war, the prestige of America, and the American way of life.
La más hermosa lección de diplomacia.
All this kindness, all this courtesy.
They cannot succeed without the support of the people. We cannot succeed without the support of our people.
But I was not fighting for lawyers, but for the people.
Na kagalang-galang na bumubuo sa ika-10 Kongreso.
In times of financial and economic stress,
I, Rodrigo Roa Duterte, fulfill my duties as President of the Philippines.
Maayong gabi, sa tarang nagtanaw nato din sa atong programa Politics and Beyond. Ako si Eric Espina o sa karong higayuna ang ato na pong tukion nga atong kahinabi ay usa ka langyaw pero ang iyang kasing-kasing muna gitawag og siguro Cebuano sa Nesia. So kakausapin po natin itong ating piling panauhin ngayon na taga-Australia. Siya po ay makakalikasan at siguro isasabihin niya sa atin kung ano yung mga naranasan niya dito sa ating bansa, lalo na dito sa Cebu, sa Pateros, at kung bakit niya ginagawa ito. So we're very fortunate to have Mike Smith, who's doing our job for us, cleaning up our own country, who is the founder of ZeroCo. Welcome to Cebu, welcome to the Philippines again and again.
Thank you.
So Mike, everybody's wondering, what is ZeroCo?
Yeah, so we're an Australian company.
Okay.
We make zero waste personal care and home cleaning products.
Okay.
So things you use every day like shampoo, laundry liquid, and we deliver them minus the single-use plastic to people's homes.
Okay.
And then we use the proceeds from the sale of those products to clean oceans and rivers and beaches around the world.
So you don't give the plastic, you give the substance.
Correct.
Okay, so what is the container of the...
Yeah, so we have a system where we send out the packaging to the customer with the product. Then when they've finished with it, they send it back to us and we clean the packaging, refill it and send it out again. So there's no single-use plastic.
Okay, but people are trying to wrap their heads around what you're saying and thinking, what are you using to put all this liquid into?
Yeah, so it comes in plastic.
Okay.
But you send it back to us.
Okay.
And we clean it and we reuse it.
And then you
send it out again.
It's a reusable plastic.
Reusable system.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
How are we doing about what we're reading about the latest technology in terms of using algae or in order to replace plastic?
Yeah, there's some technology that is getting close. Nothing exists right now that can solve the problem
of plastic
in its totality. There's a few use cases for things like algae and seaweed, but nothing yet that can hold liquids and hold them for a long amount of time. So if it's something like a plate that you get at a takeaway restaurant that maybe you use for 10 minutes, those kind of bio-based materials work. But for something like a bottle of shampoo that's going to be in your shower for 6 months, the technology doesn't exist just yet.
Okay. Mike, people are curious. What's your background and how did you find yourself into being an environmentalist?
Yeah, I'm a husband.
Okay.
I'm a father.
Okay.
I've got an 18-month-old daughter.
Wow, fantastic. And what's the name?
Tilly.
Tilly.
Tilly. Hey, Tilly.
Okay.
And I just care about the planet. I'm a surfer, so I spend a lot of time in the water. I grew up in the water.
Okay.
And I just want to see all of us protect the planet. Like, I don't want my daughter to inherit a planet that's covered in rubbish. I'm pretty sure no parent out there wants that for their child. So I'm just trying to do whatever I can to remove as much rubbish from oceans and rivers and beaches around the world, and then help people produce less waste at home.
Where did this motivation come from?
I actually went on a really big trip around the world in 2018. My wife Alyssa and I spent 18 months kind of traveling to some really remote, far-flung places, and I was just blown away by the amount of rubbish I saw in really, really remote parts of the world where there aren't even people, and it just affected me. And I said, there's too much rubbish in too many parts of the world, and feels like not enough people trying to do something about it. So I said to myself, as woefully unqualified as I am to do this, that's what I'm going to spend the next chapter of my life trying to do is solving this problem.
This was like one illuminated moment.
It was a bit
an
of an
aha moment.
It was an aha moment, yeah.
Okay.
And I came back to Australia in 2019 and I said, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to try and build a business that helps people use less plastic at home, and then I'm going to use the proceeds to fund cleanup projects around the world. We've now removed over 33 million water bottles worth of rubbish from oceans and rivers and beaches in Australia, in the Philippines, in Indonesia, in Egypt, all around the world.
How did you start this? I mean, I'm sure when you got this great idea, you've got to operationalize it, and then how did you gather the company or the people around it to support you?
Yeah, I just went and found experts that know how to make the products that we're making. I found experts in packaging, and I just built a team and said, this is what I want to try and do. My big goal is to try and collect 1 billion water bottles worth of ocean waste. And so everyone I spoke to, I said, this is what I want to do with my life. I want to go and collect 1 billion water bottles of rubbish. I need you to help me do it. And luckily, people have rallied around the mission and the cause, and yeah, I've got a great team around me now, and we're scaling, the business is growing, our cleanups are growing, we're doing more of them. So yeah.
You visit countries, like you visited the Philippines, but do you have like a zero co subsidiary in the Philippines and in other parts of the world, in order that you don't have to be there all the time, but somebody's doing the work for you?
Yeah, so our head office is in Australia.
Okay.
But we have a local project manager here.
Okay.
Francis, his name is.
Okay.
He works for us full time. And then we employ 12...
Francis is local? Francis is
local, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Francis what?
Francis Chua.
Chua, okay.
Yeah. And then we have 12 local Filipinos that work as our cleanup crew, and they travel around the Philippines to different locations.
So he does the heavy lifting for Cebu or for the entire Philippines?
For all the Philippines.
Okay.
Francis is the guy you want here, not me.
For Cebu?
Yeah, for everywhere, for all the Philippines. All the Philippines. He's the hero.
Okay.
He's the guy you should be interviewing now, not me.
Well, we'll start with you, and then we can move on to Francis, so we can find out what he's been doing all over the country.
Yeah.
How did you convince Francis? Or he was already sold out when you talked to him?
So Francis has been involved in some other cleanup projects in the Philippines himself, and we were looking for a local project manager to build the team for us and manage all of the cleanups. And so he already was passionate about the planet and about the cleanup stuff. He's also got a daughter 2 years old, and so we were just very aligned on same stage of life, same motivations, and yeah, he's been working with us for kind of 12 months now.
Okay, so it's 12 months old as far as the Philippines is concerned?
Yeah.
Do you intend to put some sergeants all around the Philippines who will do the heavy lifting for you?
Yeah, that's the plan.
Okay.
Yeah, so we want to actually we're going to bring our products into the Philippines as well, so that people can have a zero waste solution for products you use at home, and then we'll use the proceeds from the sale of those products to fund more cleanups across the Philippines.
You talked about shampoo. Other products included?
Yeah, so we do hand wash, body wash, shampoo, conditioner, laundry liquid, dishwashing liquid, lots. We've got about 25 products that we do.
How about single-use plastics, bottled water?
We don't do bottled water things. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Francis, you were able to convince him. You started in Manila. You're in Cebu. What's the next target in your world?
Yeah. Well, right now we've got 7 more days of cleaning up here in Cebu.
Okay.
So we're working down on a beach in Pasil, at the mouth of the Guadalupe River. So we came to Cebu 12 months ago, and we did some cleanups right at the head of the Guadalupe River, and now we're back here at the mouth of the river. We've got 7 days left. There's lots of rubbish. There's probably 200,000 kilos of rubbish on this beach. We've got our 12 team members. We've got a few volunteers from the barangay and the city council. So job number 1 is you want to clear this whole beach in Pasil. So if anyone watching wants to come down and volunteer,
and help, yes.
Yeah, we're there from 4 a.m. to 11 a.m. every day. We've got gloves, we've got sacks for people to volunteer with. So we want to get that cleanup done. That's job number 1.
Okay, Mike, let me ask you something. Was the Philippines your first country to go to, or there were you started with other countries and then you just spread around and decided Philippines was part of the map?
Yeah, so we started in Australia, doing cleanups in Australia. Then we went to Indonesia and Bali, so we had 2 different cleanup operations there. We then went to Egypt and we're doing some cleanups on the Nile River. And then, unfortunately, we came across a report which tracked the global contributors to ocean waste. There were some scientists who studied the amount of rubbish coming out of 1,000 rivers around the world. And unfortunately, Philippines
yes.
was the number one contributor to ocean waste. And so when we saw this report, we realized that if we want to have the biggest impact, we need to come to the place where there's the biggest problem. And so we're not here to point the finger or blame anyone. We just said there's a big problem here.
It's based on a study, so
it's based on a study. There's not that many cleanup organizations operating in the Philippines, so we just thought, hey, let's go to the Philippines and start doing work here. So
I don't know whether there are a lot of people who know that the Philippines is ground zero for a lot of the maritime waste. So this is a good thing for us to realize. You know? And really do something very serious about it. So that's why you decided to come over to the Philippines.
Yeah, correct.
Okay. And when you were Cebu was not your first project. You must have started in the capital. So
so we started in Manila. We've probably done 8 or 9 cleanups around Manila now. The last one we did was in March at the Pateros Taguig River, which was the first time we kind of started to get some traction in the Philippines, and lots of the content we posted went viral, and we had some news interviews, and the Manila Council got involved, and we started to really raise awareness about the scale of the problem, but also about the solution and the fact that if we can get more Filipinos involved, we can solve the problem. So that was a really awesome experience. The last cleanup in particular, we removed over 100,000 kilos of rubbish from the Pateros River, which was great. So now we're back here. Now we came back to Cebu.
So tell us, how does that go? You arrived in Manila. Did you have people that you could talk to right away, or?
So we have our Francis is our main guy. And we have
so Francis was in Manila.
Francis was in Manila.
Okay.
And then we have our 12 local guys that work with us. They travel around the country.
Okay.
Wherever our cleanups are, they come with us and do the cleanups.
Okay.
So we have a crew of Filipinos that work with us.
Before we get a profile of the 12, because they're heroes, does Francis network you with the mayor,
correct,
with the local officials, or with the higher ups?
So he's reached out to everyone from the DENR to the local councils, and has relationships now. Has been building relationships over the last year with various government organisations, from the the Philippines government level down to local barangays.
So you're the poster boy for Zero. Zero Code. Okay.
I guess so.
And the spokesperson. Oh well, you're the founder. You're the heart. You're the ethos of the entire movement. So.
I get involved in the cleanups, but I'm not the hero doing all of the heavy lifting.
Everybody it's definitely teamwork.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, and then when you saw the amount of rubbish for the first time, was there a sync between the study and what you physically saw?
The Pateros River in particular. Was really confronting, to be honest, because it was a lot of rubbish. Basically, when we got there, it was probably a stretch of maybe between 500 meters and a kilometer.
And you chose Pateros, or was it chosen for
Francis? Basically, how it works is we say to Francis, we want to go and do a cleanup, go and scout some locations. He'll work with the DENR. They've also got a list of
and then they'll
rivers. They need assistance, and then we choose a location basically. And Francis will go and he will film the location and send the videos to me in Australia, and we discuss which are the ones that we think are the most problematic, and then I come over and we do the cleanup. But seeing something on a video versus coming and seeing it with your own 2 eyes is two very different
with
things.
all your senses.
All your senses, the smells. And so arriving at the Pateros River was quite confronting, and I've been involved in lots and lots of cleanups in lots of places. That was a particularly confronting one. It was really stinky. You couldn't see any water. The whole river.
You could walk through the.
You could walk along the top of it. Yeah.
Okay.
And similar to here, where we are now in Pasil, when the tide is up, you can walk along the top of the rubbish. The rubbish is probably this thick on this beach in Pasil.
What was the reception of the public officials, DNR or the city of Manila?
They've been really supportive. They're always sending people down to help with us, to actually do the physical cleanup. But then also at the end of the cleanup, they'll bring their trucks down, they'll collect the rubbish, they'll go to the municipal waste facility. It's been a very collaborative effort between ZeroCo, the barangays, the councils, the DENR. Everyone's been involved and everyone's been really supportive.
You're basically picking up all the garbage. Do you have a seminar in which once the consciousness is touched, and it makes your job less complicated, because now you're picking up lesser garbage, because now people are awake and they're not going to be throwing all this.
Yeah, totally. So, two things.
Uh-huh.
The first thing is we film all of these cleanups,
Okay.
and we put them on social media,
Okay.
so people can see. Because once people see the scale of this problem, it's hard not to be shocked. Like if you see
Okay.
the videos of us waist deep in rubbish, and you're not shocked by that, then there's probably something wrong with you. So that's the first piece of kind of education, is just showing people the scale of the problem. But the second thing is, when we're at these cleanups, the locals come and get involved, and particularly the kids. Like every single cleanup we've done in the Philippines, it's probably 2 or 3 days into the cleanup when the kids have kind of got their confidence up and they're starting to make friends with us. They will come and they'll put gloves on and they will start to do the cleaning themselves without being asked to, and that's really heartwarming to see that, like, the next generation get it. They can see there's a problem here. They can see other people doing something about it, and they want to be involved. So that's really rewarding when you see that happen.
That makes a lot of sense, actually.
Yeah.
It's a lesson for the older ones.
Yeah, totally. And like
The young generation is teaching the oldies.
yeah, totally. And like the kids have so much at stake here, right? Because they're going to be on the planet for much longer than us. Like I've probably got 40 years left if I'm lucky. Some of these kids that are 5 years old down at the Pasil cleanup have got, I don't know, maybe 70 or 80 years left on the planet. So they're the ones that are going to have to deal with the problem.
Did you get to meet the big hitters in Manila to make your job easier? That's one. And number two, aside from social media, were you on traditional media? And did you have a press conference in order to really spout the effort that you're undertaking when Politics and Beyond returns? Okay, nagbabalik po ating programa Politics and Beyond. Ako pa rin po si Eric Espina. Kausap natin si Mike Smith. Siya po isang Australiano pero may pusong Pilipino. Tumutulong para sa kalinisan ng ating kapaligiran at ng ating kalikasan. Siya po ay Pangulo at pundador ng Zero Co. So, we had a hanging question. Did you meet the heavy hitters in Manila? Because that's the gravity. Gravity falls that way. And then the other thing is, did you get a chance to expose what you're after? I mean, in terms of the traditional media.
No and no.
Oh,
is the short answer to both of those two things. Yeah, we've met a few people in Manila in the local council, but I wouldn't say we've met heavy hitters.
Okay.
I wouldn't say we have heavy hitters on our side, and we haven't done a lot of press stuff, to be honest, because we've just kind of come and we're just finding our feet and wanting to do the work. But I'm sure it's probably a thing that will hopefully come at some point to help raise awareness, not just about the work that we're doing, but about the problem more broadly. So yeah, maybe that will come.
You're the arms and the feet of this movement. That's the reason why I ask you about traditional media, because then you'll be able to touch the mind and the heart, and that's really basically the future. So
yeah,
I was hoping that Francis could help you along the way and network you with all the different traditional medias in order to get the word out, and then the awakening begins.
Totally.
And the habit changes.
Yeah, hopefully. Hopefully one day we get to that place.
There are a lot of good people who'd probably like to know your message and what you're espousing. I hope Francis will be able to guide you along the way. But okay, the mayor is very crucial as always.
Yeah.
The mayor and then the council follows. So, that's the reason why I was asking about the heavy hitters. How about anybody in the Department of Environment and Natural Resources?
Yeah, Francis has relationships with people in the DENR. I don't personally, because I'm in Australia, obviously, but we do have relationships with the DENR in Manila.
Okay.
So yeah, they've been very helpful.
Any heavy hitters? You haven't met the secretary or the?
I haven't personally. No.
You're the face. That's why in Asian culture the face is very important. Eyeball to eyeball. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, good to know.
Yeah. So you haven't met anybody in the DNR, local officials except for the council, maybe some councillors. You met some councillors.
Yeah, I met Don when I was here in
over
Cebu.
here. Yes.
Yeah.
Highly very accessible. Yes, highly very accessible. Do you stay long in a particular project, in a particular area, or once you've set, your work and your mission, you tend to move on to the next as part of your way of creating some kind of an awareness.
Yeah, so we typically do cleanups for 2 weeks at a time in one location, and then we will move to a different location all in the Philippines at the moment. That's how we kind of operate at the moment. Yeah, and I try and get here as often as I can. I'm probably coming once every 3 months.
Okay.
But I have a wife and an 18-month-old daughter at home, so it's challenging for me to get here much more than that.
Manila and then Cebu right away?
Yeah.
You didn't try to go over the orbit of Manila, Metro Manila, or the other parts there? Or
there's a lot of work to be done in Manila, to be honest, and like Greater Manila. We could be working there for a very, 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 very long time to get all those.
That's what worries me. That's why it's good to tell everybody about it so that they'll do the heavy lifting for you, and it's shameful that it has to be an Australian to be doing this actually.
Well, look, I think just someone needs to start the conversation, right? And it starts with one person. If I can inspire one person to make a change, and then they can go and inspire one person to make a change, that's how this problem gets solved. And so, yes, I'm from Australia. I'm not here to, as I said, I'm not here to point the finger or place the blame.
Oh, you're very welcome because, it's a lesson that we're learning.
I have a life belief that if you can do something, you must do that thing. And I have the capability to come here and to get involved in a cleanup project, to start a cleanup project and get a team together. So I feel a moral obligation to do that. And hopefully, we've got 12 guys now that work for us here. They are out there telling their friends and their family about it. And, the ripple effect happens. So
exponentially.
Correct.
Francis is from Cebu, from Manila, or how?
Yeah, from Manila.
Okay. Tell us who are the 12 heroes that should get some kind of accolade from this.
They're all Francis's mates, basically.
Okay.
That he grew up with, school friends that are working as labourers or electricians, and they take time off from their jobs and they come and do these cleanup projects. Yeah.
You could actually network with a lot of the AFP reservists, the ready reservists.
Yeah.
And the local barangay people can help you out on this, so that this really requires a lot of feet and a lot of muscles to to get it really very effective. So
yeah.
I really, oh my goodness, this is a lot of work.
It is a lot of work.
And you started it.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. Yeah.
Okay, so from there, did you go back to Australia again and then come back to Cebu afterwards?
Yeah. So I was in Manila in March.
Okay.
I went back to Australia, and I've just come to Cebu last week.
Frustrations. It's part of the job. It comes with the territory. Stand on your feet in the beach. So, what were the things that you learned when you had to do this in Manila?
We don't have too many frustrations, to be honest.
Really? Everybody's on board.
Everyone's on board. Everyone's trying. Like the thing with this problem is, we just need everyone to be involved. The only way we solve this problem, because it's a global problem, right? The only way we solve it is if everybody gets on board in some way, shape, or form. Not everyone needs to come and do the cleanup, but everyone needs to just think about, maybe don't buy that single-use plastic thing today. Reduce the amount of single-use plastic you're buying every day. It's a small act, but there's 8 billion humans on the planet that are doing that every single day. And if all of us just bought one less single-use plastic thing, that's 8 billion less pieces of single-use plastic every day. So it can be as simple as that, through to obviously doing the cleanups. We just need to get everyone involved. And so we don't have frustrations. I guess we just want to be welcoming, be inviting, try and inspire literally everyone on the planet to get involved in this thing.
Teach us why people prefer to throw their plastic into the water rather than throw it into the garbage. What do you think is the psyche here?
I don't think people prefer to do it, right?
Okay, but...
And I've spent a lot of time thinking about the problem here in the Philippines. And again, I'm mindful that I'm a white man from a Western country. I don't want to come here and lecture people. It's a really complex and challenging problem here, right? And it starts with the fact that everything in the Philippines is packaged in single-use plastic. It's really hard to go to the supermarket and buy anything not in plastic.
Yes,
you know,
yes,
even
yes.
fruit is wrapped in
Yes,
plastic.
yes,
a
yes.
banana, which doesn't need to be,
Yes,
because
yes.
it has its own, you know, natural packaging, the skin.
Yes, yes.
So I think there's companies that have a responsibility here to reduce the amount of plastic they're producing. But then, you know, people don't have an option to go to the shops and buy things not in plastic. And then there's a lack of curbside rubbish collection here in the Philippines compared to Australia and other Western
Yes,
countries.
yes, that's true. That's true.
And that's a function of the fact that the Philippines is still a developing country. And
yes,
so
yes.
the government doesn't have the tax revenues that we have in Australia to be able to fund the curbside rubbish
Yes,
collection.
yes, yes.
So then the Filipino goes to the shops and buys something in plastic and they've got nowhere to put it.
Yes.
So where do they put it? They put it on the street or wherever. And then it rains a lot here in the Philippines, right? It's a tropical country. So it rains and all that rubbish flows into the ocean. And
Do you have great penalties in Australia when you throw something? I
we
mean,
do, yeah, we do.
Give us an idea. How much will that go?
I don't know. What's a littering, like $500 maybe if you call it
penalties,
littering? Yeah.
Okay.
But we have all of the systems ahead of that in the supply chain, right? Like the government has a big tax revenue base that can fund curbside collection,
yes.
and then can put rubbish bins everywhere. And we don't have as many products packaged in plastic. We still have lots of products packaged in plastic. So it's really easy to point the finger and place the blame on here, and here. It's just a really complex issue in the Philippines because of all those things I mentioned. There is no silver bullet solution to this. I think it's got to be a combination of companies reducing the amount of plastic in their packaging. The government needs to step up and provide some more curbside recycling or collection of rubbish. And then people need to be educated about the impacts of throwing things on the street. So it's everyone. Again, it's the same mantra of like everyone needs to be involved in this.
Mike, give us an idea. How is Australia handling plastic?
Really poorly, to be completely honest with you.
Really,
We have recycling infrastructure in Australia, but for a very long time we were shipping our plastic overseas to developing nations. We were sending a lot of our plastic to Indonesia, where it was being either put in a landfill or incinerated. So only probably in the last 5 years has Australia really got serious about recycling. And again, we're a developed country. We have a big tax base, so we've been able to go and build recycling infrastructure. But in Australia, only 9% of all of the plastic that we make gets recycled, which means 81% of it ends up in landfill. And I think the other thing in Australia is
you have landfills.
We have landfills
in
right?
Australia.
We have landfills, but it kind of tricks Australians into thinking we don't have a problem.
Yes.
Because we dig a big hole, and we put it all in the hole, and then we cover it over and we hide it from ourselves. Whereas, for example, the location we've been at this week in Pasil,
unless they're giraffes, so that they can see the garbage inside.
I think here in the Philippines and other parts of Asia, it's just more visible.
Yes.
Right? It's not to say there's
You've
more.
got a great collection. That's why you don't see it on the street.
We
so
hide
much.
it. Like,
we hide it. Yeah,
we probably
over
have,
here. It's right there. It's right in your face.
That's right. So it's not like we have a less of a problem. We're just kidding ourselves or tricking ourselves by hiding it in a hole in the ground. So we are no better. Is the truth.
Brings me back to what I was asking you. In your own experience, albeit short, here in the Philippines, do you see Filipinos preferring to throw it into the garbage or throwing it into, like, pateros in the river? Because there are a lot of houses and residences along the river. So instead of throwing in the garbage, you throw it into the water.
All of the locations that we have done cleanups, there aren't garbage bins. So there's nowhere for them to put it.
Okay.
That's the brutal reality.
So not enough? There's not enough?
There's none.
Okay.
So like the location that we're in right now in Pasil, there's not a garbage bin there. So there's nowhere for people to put the rubbish. And that's not to say that they're not responsible, but I just don't think people like throwing rubbish in the river. You know, like the first day we got to Pasil, there were these kids swimming in the beach, surrounded in rubbish.
Yes.
They don't want to be doing that. No one wants to swim in.
That's true.
They don't want to do that. It's just their reality. And so that's why we're here. We're here to try and help clean that beach so that the kids can swim in that beach, in that water, without being surrounded in rubbish. I think about my daughter. I would be horrified for her to be swimming in that. And so no one's kid should be swimming in an environment like that. And they don't like it. They don't want
I
to
mentioned about throwing into the water simply because there are studies now that show that a lot of the fishes have either mercury or microscopic plastic in them.
Yeah.
And so if you're a vegetarian or a pescatarian and you don't like meat and you end up eating the fish, you end up with plastic.
Correct.
So that's the reason why, this throwing into the river and throwing it leads into the sea. It becomes really a big problem, and then against the marine life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it affects everybody, right?
It will really affect everybody. So
on the whole planet, because like the thing I always say is, when the rubbish is in the river, in the Guadalupe River, it may be a Cebu problem, right? As soon as that rubbish goes into the ocean, it becomes a global problem because it breaks down into microplastics, get eaten by fish, they get eaten by people in Australia, in wherever, and I don't think anyone on the planet wants to be eating plastic. So it's a global problem. We only have one planet. All of us share it. No matter where we are, what colour our skin is, what our religion is, we're all humans. We all live on the same planet. We all have to work together to solve this problem.
I talked about the river because I was hoping you could catch it. There's something very cultural about the Filipino throwing it on the river because of where they came from. They usually come from beaches, and there is no latrine, and there's no garbage. So the best place to do your thing is into the sea, and the best place to throw everything. So once they move into the city, and they don't have a place to stay, so they stay beside the rivers. They build little shanties, and it becomes like a cultural thing. They carry over the habit from wherever they came from. So the river becomes their, as long as it gets moving away farther from their house. That's it. But unlike other countries where you've got roads beside rivers, you hardly have houses directly over the river. So that's really part of the problem that we are facing. So, who aside from Vice Mayor Dondon Ontiveros helping you, you got to meet him, of course.
Yes, I did.
Okay, and who did that for you? Who did the networking for you?
So we have another company from Australia called the Hidden Sea, which is a wine company, and they provide funding and sponsorship for the cleanups alongside ZeroCo.
Okay.
And the founder of the Hidden Sea, I forget her name. If she's watching, I apologise. Has a Cebuano friend.
Okay.
Who knew Don Don, so she was able to facilitate an introduction and a meeting.
So you got to go to the City Hall?
I went to City Hall.
To his office,
Yes.
You did the photos and everything?
Had the meeting, discussed the plans. Yeah, he's been really supportive.
Has the mayor met you?
I have not met the mayor.
Okay, you'll be here on the 16th. We'll see what we can do.
Yeah, maybe. I'd like to meet the mayor.
Yeah, because, again, gravity.
Yeah.
Gravity moves faster than upward. So, Pasil became, again, your project because that's where you saw most of the... Guadalupe. I heard you were doing something in Guadalupe as well.
Yeah, the Guadalupe River, the mouth of the river, is in Pasil.
Yes.
Yeah. So the first cleanup we did in Cebu... I don't know, 6 months ago maybe.
6 months ago.
We went right to the head of the Guadalupe River in the hills. And the river is beautiful up there. It's clean, there's no rubbish. And we basically spent a few days working our way down the river, getting closer and closer to Cebu City. And obviously, the further towards the city you get, the more rubbish that is being thrown in or making its way into the river upstream. The water gets dirtier, the colour of it gets darker, and you get to the city and the water is black and it's covered in rubbish. So, yeah, we've done some cleanups further up the Guadalupe, and this one we wanted to go right to the mouth of the river and see the scale of the problem of all of that rubbish flowing down the river.
The dream is supposed to be like what Paris did to the Seine River, where the Olympic competition is going to be done in the Seine River because it's already so clean. And they clean it up. Of course, they spent a lot of money, a lot of euros for it, but that basically should be, I think, the standard for a lot of countries. Huh?
We made a video today when we were at the beach in Pasil. I'm 40 years old at the moment, and I said I think it's going to take us 10 years to solve the problem in the Philippines. And so I made a video saying I'll see you back here in 10 years at Pasil, and I'll swim at the beach there in clean water. Coming out of the Guadalupe, the water will be clean in 10 years. We can do it.
Are you getting a lot of support from the local Cebuanos? as
Yeah,
well?
we've had lots of locals come down and volunteer at the cleanup. Obviously, we need more.
Yes, yes, yes.
We've had maybe 10 volunteers come down today. We hopefully have another 10 or 20 coming tomorrow. On the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, we're hoping to get lots and lots of locals to come down and help us.
Mhm. And then you usually stay for 2 weeks in one particular area, and then what do? You go back to Australia again?
Yeah.
Okay, and then is there some kind of a reporting process?
Yeah, so we
reevaluation.
Yeah, we
and
document
audit? Yeah.
document the whole cleanup. We weigh all the bags. We count how much rubbish it is in weight. We make videos. We take photos. Yeah, document the whole thing.
Mike, what's the solution in terms of recycling? So you need a recycling plant. They're talking about waste to energy, and that's been discussed for a long time, but we don't have it. They're talking about incinerators, but we still don't have it. So what's the way forward? What do you think? Incinerators, recycling, an alternative to plastic? You dump it and then you just bury it. What's the future like?
It's a very nuanced conversation, and the reality is it's a combination of many things. There's not one silver bullet to solve the problem. There is plastic alternative technology coming. From a packaging perspective, it's at least 3 to 4 years away. We are then going to need to build recycling infrastructure around the world, and recycling is part of the solution. It's not the silver bullet. We need to basically reduce the amount of single-use, not even just plastic, just single-use stuff. Right? Move to like a reuse and refill model where people are buying a container, a water bottle that they use for the rest of their life. So it's a combination of all these things.
Ang Politics at Beyond po ay magbabalik pagkatapos po ng ilang paalaala. Okay, balik ta sa ating programa Politics and Beyond. Kahinabi lagyan po nato si Mike Smith. Siya po ay isa pong matatawag nating dayuhan na may pusong Pilipino at tumutulong sa ating mga paglilinis sa ating, lalo na sa ating mga ilog po, no? At dito sa pagkakataong ito po ay Cebu naman ang kanyang pinagtutuunan ng pansin. Other areas in the Philippines, like you've done Cebu, you did Manila. What's ahead? Siargao? No.
I don't know the answer to that yet.
Yes, okay.
There's a lot of work to be done in Manila, and there's a lot of work to be done in Cebu. So I'm not quite sure where we're moving next. Our next cleanup will probably be in 2 or 3 months' time, but I'm not sure where that will be just yet.
Who decides that?
Myself and the team here in the Philippines. Yeah, we go. The local Filipinos will go and scout different locations. We'll take photos and videos, and then we'll get together and we'll look at all the locations, and then we decide which one we think is the most important one to do.
What you're doing, Mike, is setting your thumbprint on the different areas in the Philippines to be able to create that ripple effect.
Hopefully, that's what we're trying to do.
Okay, so after Cebu, we don't know where to find you yet. After that,
you don't know. It's a mystery.
Because we're asking you so that ahead of time you can pre-position everything before you arrive, and you just touch and go, and it works.
Yes, we will do that for the next one.
Yeah,
we're learning as we go.
Well, that's why I mentioned Dumaguete and Tagbilaran, Bohol. These are within the vicinity of Central Visayas along Cebu. It's just a short hop away, and we're being seen actually in Dumaguete. Sa tanang mga nagtanaw sa Dumaguete, sa mga Remolyosan nga na rin ha, and then sa Tagbilaran, mga kahilan ako din ha. So we are seen in the different parts of the Philippines, and this is really something new for them.
Yeah, great.
So do you do as well cleanups?
Me?
Surfer in terms of diving?
Yeah.
Do you do dive cleanups as well?
Yeah, we've done some underwater ones. We've done 2 underwater cleanups in Sydney Harbour. Yeah. Scuba diving gear right to the bottom of the harbour. Yeah.
No plans here in the Philippines for cleanup?
The water's a bit dirty here.
Yes.
For me to be scuba diving, to be honest. But I'm in the water. I'm doing the cleanups. Yeah, I come here. I'm not here to just like watch. I come here, I get my hands dirty. We've been starting at 4 a.m. every morning here for the Pasil cleanup. Yeah.
You prefer rivers to beaches, or is there a formula to this?
There's not. Basically, we just go and try and find the dirtiest locations, the places that have the biggest need for a cleanup. and we go, whether it's a river, whether it's a beach, whether it's whatever island within the Philippines, wherever. We go wherever we're needed.
Okay, but you're going to be focused basically in the Philippines.
Correct.
Your main focus now will be the
Main
Philippines.
focus is the Philippines.
So actually, we can expect you in the next few weeks, in a few months, coming all over
Correct.
the Philippines, and we have to watch out for Mike Smith.
Yes. Yep.
Okay, because maybe if somebody would like to get in touch with you and talk to you, and can you help us out on this area or that area?
Yeah, totally. Yep, we'd love to hear from people.
And how does that go? You have a...
They can reach out to me through ZeroCo. So ZeroCo is my company.
Okay.
So zeroco.com.au.
Uh-huh.
Or you can reach out to me on my Instagram.
Uh-huh.
Mike Smith Projects is my Instagram.
Uh-huh.
Love to hear from people.
And everything that you've done for the Philippines is also can be found in your...
Yep, all on our social media.
Okay, and are you getting any recognition? I'm not saying you're there for the recognition, but I mean, are Filipinos realizing what you're doing? Are there some public officials, who can give you a good pat on the back and say, you're doing a great job?
I'm not here for a pat on the back.
Precisely, that's
To
what I
be
said.
completely honest with you,
Yeah,
I don't care about a pat on the back.
Yes.
That's not what I'm doing it for.
Yes.
I'm doing it because I don't want the whole world to end up a giant rubbish tip.
Uh-huh.
So all I care
Obviously,
about...
you've been around the world, and you've seen the cost. The cost of this, no?
And I just want more people to get involved. I just want more people to think about what they're buying and to stop buying so much single-use plastic and to get involved in cleanups. That's all I need.
Do you ever go on a public fora and discuss these things? Do you make a presentation?
Yeah, we do lots of that stuff. Mostly in Australia, not so much here in the Philippines.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Maybe that's one avenue you should try to look into as well, especially for schools and universities, for young kids, because that basically is where you're going. I mean, the future.
Yeah.
Is that down the pipeline, or is that somewhere?
Yeah, we do lots of stuff in Australia. We're still a small company.
Uh-huh.
There's 13 of us in Australia.
Uh-huh.
We have 12 people here in the Philippines. There's only so much time that we have available,
yes,
so we focus on the cleanup.
There's only 24 hours in a day.
There's only 24 hours in the day.
Uh-huh.
So our focus is making products that help people reduce waste at home, which solves the problem at its source, and then we go and do cleanups. And through the cleanups, through documenting the cleanups and spreading that, we raise awareness about the problem, and that's our form of education. We don't have time to go and have one-on-one conversations with 8 billion humans.
Okay.
We can reach 8 billion human people on the internet.
Schools and universities.
Again, we just don't have time to go and talk to every single university around the world. Our focus is making products that are helping people solve the problem at home, and then go and get all the rubbish out of the ocean, document all of that, share it on the internet.
Is the problem the individual, or can this be a new family tradition, environmentalism?
Look, it's an individual problem. Everyone has a stake in the future of this planet. Everyone alive today has a stake, right? We have one planet, we all share it. So everyone is responsible for being involved in this, and it starts with just one person.
Is the home crucial for this kind of a cause?
I think so. Yeah. I think it is up to individuals to make a change, and you don't.
Fathers like you,
fathers, mothers, brothers, sisters, everyone.
Yeah.
It's just not up to one person; it's up to everyone. Yeah.
And one day your daughter is going to remember such a great beginning. I mean, she might be the next co-founder of.
I don't know. I don't know what my daughter will do with her life. I don't have any preconceived ideas. But I hope one day that she will be...
You'd like her to be part of the...
I would like her to be curious about the world and want to go and see the world, and to have a love of nature. I don't have any other preconceived ideas for what I want for my daughter's life, but I hope she can go and see some of the amazing places in the world I've been fortunate to go to, and I hope that they are not covered in rubbish by the time she's old enough to go and do that.
Is there a template, good practices for other countries that we can emulate and we can copy, because that's the fastest way to get things moving. So is there a particular country you can probably say, hey, they're doing a good job, they're doing a best job, this one is better, so that we can come up with some kind of a hands, feet, and a caricature to follow?
Yeah, sure. I think in my look, I'm not an expert here.
Yes, yes, yes.
I'm definitely not an expert, but in my what I understand, what I've seen around the world, I would say that the Germans probably have the best, or amongst the best, waste management systems in the world.
Because
they have a very structured recycling program where they are sorting their waste streams at home by waste type. So like in Australia, we put all of our recyclable materials into one bin. So we put paper, hard plastics, metals, all into the one bin that comes and gets collected. Whereas in Germany, they have 5 bins at the home, and paper goes into one bin, metal goes into one bin, glass goes into one bin, plastic goes in the other bin, which just increases the efficiency of the recycling system, because the machines at the factories don't have to be sorting through the material. It just creates much higher efficiency and a higher output of recycled material. So yeah, they're definitely doing good stuff.
over here, we're having a problem because some people sometimes don't know what is recyclable, what is not recyclable. So sometimes it's so we try to simplify it between wet and dry.
Yeah,
that's how we kind of sort it. There may be other bins, but the problem is when the garbage collector gets all the trash, they're still all piled up as one big bundle.
Yeah,
they're not really separated from each other. Aside from the Germans, how about the Japanese? Are they doing okay?
I don't know much about the Japanese recycling system and infrastructure, to be honest with you. Yeah.
Australia vis-a-vis Germany, are you getting some new things from Germany and picking up a few lessons and then copying them? No?
I'm not sure, to be honest. I'm not in politics. I'm not in policy. I'm not involved in the recycling industry in Australia. So I'm not quite sure, to be honest.
Would that be a good way to go? I mean, getting the best of Australia, getting the best from Germany, and creating our own?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think it just needs to start. You know, there's no such thing as a perfect solution. There's just lots and lots of imperfect solutions that you will refine over time. So I just think people need to start today.
Is it government, or is it the people, or it's everybody, as you were saying?
It's everybody. The government has a role in this. Companies have a role in this. Individuals have a role in this.
How important are the companies to really take this to heart? I mean, not just recycling. I think the word that I really like using is regeneration. So for the environment. So, but we're still at the point of recycling. So, what role do you think does the business sector have in this?
This problem, the waste problem, starts with companies.
Yes.
Like that is undoubtedly true, because it's the companies that are producing the packaging in the first place. And so that they definitely have a role here, and unfortunately there's not enough companies being serious about reducing their environmental footprint. Whether that is plastic or carbon, there's lots of environmental issues that the business community need to be responsible for. So I think definitely the start of this, like the very top of the food chain, the top of the supply chain, is the companies that are making the plastic. And again, not to point the finger, but we went to a supermarket here the other day, and there were oranges in a foam wrap,
yes,
on a styrofoam tray,
okay, in
a cling wrap plastic. There was like 3 different types of plastic
over
4 oranges that don't need any plastic at all. You just pick up the orange and take it home and cut it and eat it. So that's a company's responsibility, right? Like if people are going to the supermarket and that's the only option, then how can someone just buy an orange without any plastic? And that is squarely on the company that's making that decision to do that. So yes, the companies have a big part of this.
This must be imported orange.
I don't know.
Oh yeah, most likely it's imported.
I'm not sure. Bananas were the same. Bananas in plastic bags.
Yes,
and look,
it's convenient. That's what the reason why. Yeah.
We did the same in Australia until very recently. So again, I'm not here to blame anyone or point the finger.
What did you do? You had a supermarket basket, or you bring one from home and then use this and
in Australia?
Yeah. How did you do that?
You pick up the bananas with your hand.
Okay.
And then you take them to the cashier and you pay for them. and then you put them into a reusable bag and you take them home.
And the reusable bag is from home or from the supermarket?
Yeah, well, you can buy them at the supermarket.
Uh-huh.
You bring a backpack from home. Like, we don't need a special bag to put groceries in, right? You just need some vessel to get it from the supermarket to your car to your house.
Oh, and I'm glad because my daughter is also basically. My daughter has a metal bin for water now. We lug it all around. We all each have
great.
a metal bin, and well, she doesn't like plastic so much. So she,
Great.
yeah,
Good for her.
Yeah, she's 17, 18 years old, so she's teaching me a few things here and there. So
Great.
Yeah. How do you encourage people to really be on board? I mean, they hear you, and I'm telling you, so many people have said so many good things that we should be doing, but it just flies off their heads, and they feel good that they heard something, a good sermon perhaps, but the actuation, how to imbibe it into part of everyday living, part of conscious psyche.
How do you do it?
Yeah, and we're looking to you.
Yeah, that's the $1 million question.
Yeah.
My view on this is, you just be honest. You just communicate authentically. You be yourself. You show people what the solution is instead of telling them. You show them. You go and do the work, and you invite people to be part of it. You be optimistic. You be hopeful. That's all you can do.
Does poverty play an important role in the level of trash that you throw, or is it because you're a highly industrialized country, so you expect more products and more waste coming out of those factories?
I think it's a combination. I don't think poverty or economic standing necessarily correlates with it. I think there are more complex factors to that. I think education is a part of it.
Yes.
I think the stage of development your country is in plays a factor in it. But I certainly don't think that poor people are responsible for the problem.
Education. You talked about education. This part of the scholastic part, I'm curious about. Do you teach environmentalism as part of the educational system in Australia?
I'm not sure. I'm not a teacher or involved in the education system. I'm sure there's some sustainability courses that happen in schools, but I can't speak to that. Sorry,
because I think that's where the battle is. At the you start them very young so that it becomes part of their DNA, and then you'll have a lot of Mike Smith walking around.
Hopefully, we have lots of people that are inspired to look after the planet.
And you're talking about the planet. Where is Mother Earth now, in your own view?
What's the state?
Yeah, what's the state it's in?
I'm hopeful that we can solve the many problems that we are facing, but we are certainly running out of time. That's the brutal truth, and we need more people to get involved in lots of different ways, not just around waste. Climate change and reducing carbon emissions is a really serious thing. I'm hopeful that we're going to get there, but we are running out of time. We need action now.
In my postgraduate studies, 2054 is the date, is the tipping point for the planet actually. And,
I'm not certain we have until 2054.
With the way it's moving, yes. And then it's a very sad thing because everybody's talking about climate change, and yet I remember many years back I was talking about, I want to share this with you and to the audience. I was talking about the planet's survival already, not just climate change. At that point, because everybody was trying to sell it as climate change, I was trying to sell it as this will determine the survival of the human race. That way back on, and maybe we should teach people how to compute their carbon footprint, because streets, cities, people, they can actually compute their carbon footprints and feel guilty about it. Final word, Mike, for the audience. if you want to still huff and puff or,
Yeah.
or sigh
No,
in public, anything more that we can squeeze out of you.
My final word is if you're living in Cebu right now and you want to do something to help,
Yeah.
you can come down to Pasil.
Pasil?
We are there 4 a.m. to 11 a.m.
Every day?
Every single day.
Okay, no Sundays?
Yeah, on Sundays,
On
of course
Sundays
on
as well?
Sundays, every day
Okay.
until the 17th of July.
Uh-huh.
And there's 12 of us there from ZeroCo. We have a small team from the barangay.
Okay.
We need all of the Cebuanos to come and help us. Come down, we have gloves, we have sacks. Help us get involved in cleaning up this stretch of beach.
So if they can't identify who are the other workers, they just have to look for you.
You'll see us. We've all got
and you're
ZeroCo.
going to stand out.
We've all got ZeroCo t-shirts.
Okay. So yan po, that's the complete politics and beyond for today. Thank you very much, Mike, for spending the time.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And yan po kabuo ng ating programa. Sana po may natutuhan tayo. Taga Negros kayo or taga Bohol or sa Cebu. Ito po si Eric Espina. Daghang salamat ug maayong gabi kaninyong tanan.